Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Did you see the news? Fusion Strike, $356 a box. And of course, I made a video probably no more than 2 weeks ago talking about Brilliant Stars breaking $200 market price at the time. Of course, the lowest price box on TCG Player at $356 has run way ahead of the market price, which, in an upwards market, you will expect it to do to a greater or lesser degree, but it's run way, way ahead. Now, you always expect them in a moving market, either ascending or descending, to be off from each other because the market price here, that is a lagging average. And so it will run behind to the downside if the market is up and to the upside if the market is down. But the fact that it's run this far behind the current lowest box price is really, really amazing. And you see we had pretty good sell-through over the Black Friday weekend, 44 and 28 and 17. And so what's that make? 35 and 44 is what, 79? Something like that. And, I use this box as kind of an example, kind of a way to learn from the past. And I know not everyone watching this video was around with Final Trade in late 2021 and early 22. And let me give you the history on this box on Fusion Strike. In late 21, well, not even late, maybe around August, September of 21, Pokemon released Celebrations. And Celebrations was, well, they really wanted to give time for the market to absorb it, for people to enjoy it. And so they held back on a lot of other restocks that they had ready from the printers. And of course, this was after all the panic of 2020 and the incredible upswings in the market. And so Pokemon USA had printed To Oblivion, so to speak. And they were holding back at the time 5 or 6 expansions worth of reprints that they could send to the market. And after Celebrations had a little bit of its own time in the sun, they blew out all those other 5 or 6 expansions of reprints onto the market at once. And Chilling Reign crashed, Battle Styles crashed, Fusion Strike crashed. I don't quite recall if Brilliant Stars crashed at the time, but man, the market got flooded with Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Voltage and everything from that era. And then you could buy Chilling Reign and Fusion Strike and Battle Styles. Those were the 3 most dramatic. You could buy those, $80 to $90 a box shipped to your house. $80 to $90 a box. And I remember our good friend Mason from Cardinal Gaming, and he made a really interesting video, and he talked about kind of the poison pill deal that one of his distributors had, where to get something like, I don't know, 1 case of Brilliant Stars, you had to take something like 6 or 8 cases of Fusion Strike. It was just unbelievable, and you could tell that the distributors were drowning in Fusion Strike. The whole market was drowning in Fusion Strike. And at the time, famously, Reddit was begging people, don't buy this stuff. It's garbage. It's printed to oblivion, and it'll never be worth anything. And the entire Pokemon market had that downtime in late 21 and into early 22. And what did I do? Well, like I always tell people, you make the most money when you catch the falling knife. And I always categorize myself in terms of investor type as being contrarian and counter-cyclical. Little bits of each. And so I went back to my actual records today when I saw this current price on Fusion Strike. And I bought on January 28th, 2022, I bought a case of Fusion Strike at $88.58 per box. $88.58. And here we are today, $356. It is up 300% in fewer than 3 years. And Reddit was begging us not to buy this. It was printed to oblivion. And yet, here we are. It was a terrible product. It was never going to be worth anything. There's so much it'll never sell out. And yet, here we are. Not even 3 years later. And it's up 300%. It has quadrupled in price in less than 3 years. And the learning moment that I would like people to take away from this, whether you were around with me in 2021 and you were buying when I was buying, and you were buying when I was putting it on Friday sealed deals, and you were wisely putting it back in the closet and you're up 300% today, or if you're newer to this hobby and you don't know these old history lessons, the real lesson here is not letting price drive your sentiment. And that's one of those long-term theses I talk about on this channel with investing in TCG products. It's that you can't look at a TCG product's price and let that be the sole informer of what you think it will do in the future. Because if you had, you would have lumped in with all those Redditors and all those other people who scoffed at this product in late 21 and early 22 and passed up on it at $88.57 per box. And you would not have gotten a 300% return in less than 3 years. You have to look at every asset and you have to evaluate it on your own. And yeah, there's pitfalls there. You don't know everything. And you have to leverage your experience as an investor. You have to leverage what you know about the TCG world in general, about TCG markets in specific. And then you have to make your own choice about what you're going to do. And, you can look to people like me for advice, for general kind of ideas and guidance and things like that. But you have to let your sentiment develop on its own. But what you have to not do is let your sentiment be solely driven by price. And, we've seen that many, many, many times in the TCG world. Another great example is Dominaria Remastered collector boxes. A year ago, we were getting them on Black Friday 2023 at around the $120, $130 mark after all discounts and rebates. And they're at what, $225 today? And in less than a year, they're probably going to be a $300 box. Don't let price drive your sentiment, and don't stay negative too long on products, because time will humble all of those ideas. Time will shrink the inventory of a product left in a market. And these are scarce collectibles that, as I always try to remind everyone, people destroy these for fun. They tear the boxes open, they rip the packs, and they tear them down to singles for fun. They take the scant population of these limited collectibles and they reduce the population every day until eventually you're left with this. A product that's quadrupled in price in less than 3 years. And this is why I tell people, don't let price drive your sentiment. Look for great assets at a good price. Buy it and be willing to unemotionally hold for the long term. Because if you were buying in late 21 and early 22 when I was telling people to buy, and when I myself was buying, then, well, you've quadrupled the money you spent on this in under 3 years. Congratulations. If you weren't around then, or you were too negative at the time, hey, come along with me. There's always more opportunity, and the future is always bullish. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.